either.
Pretty interesting.
Which is lucky for our runners because I personally, that blue cane is my least favorite one.
Yeah, I think so as well. There's very little room to farm for bombs with the blue cane.
All right, grabbing our uncle's stash of 5 rupees. That's not going to help us a whole lot as we get ahead here.
Yeah, 5 rupees alone won't get you very far in this game.
No. We will know soon what our weapon for the game is. I'm excited to find this out. There's a very low chance that it could actually just straight up be a sword, but it's probably not going to be that.
Yeah.
No. I think you've jinxed it.
Yeah, maybe.
What's unfortunate about this is that the sort of difficult part of escape here is that our runners are going to be hunting around for a bomb, which is going to give them access to 3 more items as they make their way through escape. And hunting around for bombs with that cane is a pain in the rear end.
Yeah, for sure. There's 4 enemies that they're gonna need to kill with the blue cane, and after killing those 4, there's not a lot of magic left to farm for bombs. So they kind of want to use the pots and other means of killing enemies as efficient as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Or they might get incredibly lucky and find 3 bombs in one of the chests here. Nope.
Yeah.
No such luck.
Or maybe they find half magic and they can farm as much as they want.
Oh yeah. That would be nice. See, for me, escape never tends to be that friendly. It's always like, no, you're going to have to come back here later.
Yeah, it's always good to plan for the worst, at least.
Well, I think some people have differing opinions on it. Like, some people like to hunt around for those bombs as much as they possibly can, and then some people are like, nah, just leave it.
So 10 arrows in the heart so far.
Yeah,
so yeah, not the most generous escape so far.
No, not at all. This is not useful stuff.
The extra heart can be nice sometimes if escape isn't your best segment in the game.
Yeah, being able to take 1 more hit's kind of nice.
We see them using the pots as much as possible, and whoa, there's the bomb, so no need to worry about that at least.
There we go. Well, this is perfect. That's kind of what you want when you have Kane and Brian. Let's find those bombs kicking around somewhere. So they're going to be mostly set for smooth sailing for the rest of this. The only tricky part that's going to be left in the escape is there is 1 key kicking around on 1 rat.
Yep, they both have pretty good amount of magic left, and you only need a single hit on the rat, so it should be fine. But yeah, you never know.
It's a little tricky, or rather, some people find it pretty tricky. Depends where he's running to, what direction he goes, whether he decides to juke you.
Yes, there's 3 chests in the back of escape that those bombs is gonna give you access to, and then there's also another one in the dark sewers. The dark sewers chest is gonna have a key, because otherwise we are probably soft locked.
Yeah. Well,
which is not gonna happen.
Yeah, let's hope. Nah, it should be fine. I'm mostly curious about what's going to be in the back of here, because we haven't really found anything useful yet. Not incredibly useful. I mean, Having some bombs is nice early on, but we need weapons. We need something that's going to let us progress through this game. We don't really have that yet.
So, what do you think the runners is gonna do after escape? Do you think both is gonna do like the most standard route to go straight to Kakariko?
Yeah, Kakariko really seems to be the play pretty much all the time. Ever since V29 came out of the randomizer, it seems to be that's where all the items are hanging out, or at least you're going to find one thing there that's going to be really helpful. Though I have had a couple of times where it was completely useless. 2 heart containers.
Yes, and not the most important back of escape, but they're starting to get a pretty good amount of hearts at least.
Yeah, well, if you don't have anything to fight people with, hearts are kind of your next best option to survive this early game.
What do you mean? They have the blue king, right?
Right, and what is that? 2 seconds worth of magic?
They can always try hit them with the blue king.
I don't know if the game lets you do that. Which is weird. I mean, it's a cane. You should be able to swing it at things.
Yeah, right? It should be like tempered damage, like the hammer, right?
Let's not go that far. It's a cane made of wood. So then the other question is, and I think Mrzwanzig is maybe not. So some players like to skip the lumberjack check early on here. They can't get it right now. So they don't have boots, and plus they'd have to take down Aghanim in Hyrule Castle, but some people like to go there anyway.
Yeah, I think it makes sense both checking it early and holding off with it. Like, it's nice to get some peace of mind on, or in this case, to know that you have to go get that item.
Okay, so we have an Aghanim required seed.
Yeah, this is 100% an Aghanim seed.
Yeah.
You cannot complete this game without that hammer.
Oh dear. All right, so then the next question is, oh, that's convenient, getting a bottle right before you visit Kakariko Village. The next question is, how long is it going to be before this game forces them into Aghanim?
Yeah, and that also means that the boost will be required as well. Which is pretty nice. Like, the boots is good for maximizing your execution and like running. But just because we have a hammer on Aghanim doesn't mean the boots is going to be super early.
It does.
It's not going to be super late though, because the hammer blocks a lot of things.
Yeah, it's not like something where if you had a required medallion or if you had, Cane of Samaria was in there, that'd be a different story. But here, we're doing pretty fine. We also had a map check that I missed, but it looks like we have all crystals in the light world, which is also great. Okay. More hearts. Perfect. We do have a moon pearl, though, and a second bottle. Wow, I hope there's nothing on the sick kid. I hope that's all red here.
Is this gonna be one of the seeds where you get all 4 bottles before you get a sword?
You're supposed to shatter them and use the broken glass as a weapon.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, well, still, though, Moon Pearl is a great find, and it does absolutely nothing for us right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
flippers, that's interesting. It opens up a few locations straight away at least. It's also interesting, like, we know we have to beat Aga at some point, but seeing that hammer on the lumberjack ledge kind of makes me wonder if we're gonna have to do Aga just for the Dark World as well, unless they get both mitts.
That is a good point. Ooh, what a deal! It's the best deal I've ever seen out of that. Pay 100 rupees, get 300. I also bet they appreciate that quick bomb refill that they found in the well.
Yeah, for sure. And now they have more than enough money to buy another 10 bombs if they want to as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be problematic because I bet they're going to head towards probably Mini Moldorm Cave next. Yeah. That's sort of where you want to go. And that's going to be a difficult check with 2 bombs and a half-full cane of Burna. Ooh. All right, so we're finding a lot of stuff that will be useful later on, but don't help us out a whole lot yet. Ah, there they are.
Yeah, there's the boots.
Okay, so now, where are you going, Mrzwanzig?
I think it's going to the Bonk Rocks.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay. It's a little bit weird to route those in there, but...
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, you don't really know when you're gonna be in this area again. Like, it might be a while before they have access to the mountain.
True.
I see climbing going into the library. There's another 300 rupees. So it's a pretty rich seed in terms of money so far, at least.
Yeah, I don't blame that at all. That's I would definitely pick that up as well. This early.
Yeah, and with the flippers already, we're probably gonna see a pretty early Sora shake.
Yeah, you want to be able to have the money for Zora. You want to have money for the mini games in Village of Outcasts. You want to have money for yeah. Go pick that up. You want all that money. Be nice and comfortable. Oh, blue mail.
Okay, that was. And Mrzwanzig deciding not to go for blue mail.
All right, bold choice.
Yeah, if you feel comfortable going in green mail, that's it's all depending on how you're comfortable, like what your comfortable level. If you're okay doing green mail, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is okay. Are you heading up or are you headed down? You are headed down. Okay. Just curious about this. So this is one convenient way to route in. Like this early on when you get the flippers, there's a couple of different ways that you can route Lake Hylia. And this is sort of one of the ways you can do that. Is to start from the top and work your way down.
Yeah.
Coder finding the sword.
That's a big find. We're only one sword away or a cape to actually being able to do Ag at this point.
And another one on Hobo. Okay, well, there's your Aga access.
Yeah, if I ever saw a seed that screamed do Aga, I think this is one.
Okay, well, you know, there are some cases where I might put off the Aghanim Tower for a little while just because, you know, it's a little bit difficult with only Master Sword. But
yeah,
in this
I think
case,
so as well.
You may as well head right up, right?
Yeah, like you might want to do some of these checks in the light world that you're gonna do anyways.
Oh, for sure.
Before going up, but yeah, they're probably not gonna wait too long.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if climbing checked the lumberjack as well.
Okay, now this is interesting. So, given that the bow is in Mini Moldorm Cave, I'm curious whether or not Palace of Darkness is going to be a crystal or a pendant. Because at this point, they're right out of the gate, they're going to have the ability to do Aga, they're going to have the ability to do Eastern Palace, and they're going to have the ability to do Palace of Darkness right away.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, this is a fast opening. I'm just wondering when this seed's going to stop being nice to them.
It's a very crazy scene to start off with. Oh, and climbing, realizing not having any bombs, so can't check the Ice Road Cave.
Ooh. That's a problem. Well, that's interesting. I don't recall what... Oh, I know why Mrzwanzig has 2 more bombs, because he hasn't checked Mini Moldorm Cave yet. All of this makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. They had so much money, but none of the runners decided to buy any bombs.
So then I guess this is the question. Do you go straight to Aga, or do you continue along with your light world checks? Because you can, do Sahasrahla, you can do Eastern Palace. You don't really have your gloves yet.
Yeah, they don't really have any access to desert as well. But I would be pretty inclined to actually do Aga.
Well, that looks like exactly what ClimbingCoder is going to do. It's going to think, yeah, I can do Eastern Palace right now, but it doesn't matter. I need to come up here because I know I have to.
Yeah, like on the off chance that Palace of Darkness has the mirror, then you can do both those dungeons in one single go. And if it doesn't have the mirror, then it's not a really big deal. You can just save and quit and then go back to Eastern.
Yeah.
I mean, you do want that hammer anyways.
You do. I mean, honestly, you might find something nice over at Eastern. You might find a tempered sword or maybe silver arrows that would make this a little bit faster, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, they have pretty close actually to what you usually have when you climb the tower.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for the blue mail, I guess.
Yeah. Plus a few more hearts, a little bit of safety. Yeah, they could get incredibly lucky and find something that'll make it easier to route through the Dark World by doing this. Maybe doing Palace of Darkness earlier might be a clever idea. But we'll see how it turns out. Looks like Mrzwanzig has the exact same thought. He's heading up to Aga immediately.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, that hammer will also give you access to, like, the Hype Cave and everything else on, like, the south shore of the Dark World.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that bad to route Eastern and Palace of Darkness together. I'm talking about this like we already know whether Palace of Darkness is a crystal or not, which we don't. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah, that's rough. Unfortunately, climbing took a death.
Yeah.
That room can be a little bit tricky. Like, some of those paths are pretty narrow.
They are. It's that combination of there being cliffs everywhere as well as, you're getting ran into by these guards. Doesn't make for a fun time.
So, if Palace of Darkness turns out to be a pendant, do you think they still go inside Palace of Darkness?
I am of the opinion that you do. If it was me in this situation, I absolutely would dip Palace of Darkness. But the problem is I think I would have already dipped Eastern at this point, wanting to know what's in there. And if Eastern Palace was a complete bust, then absolutely, yeah, you dip Pod, because you're still waiting on 2 sets of gloves, you're still waiting on hookshot, you're still waiting on, all this other stuff.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't forget to grab the hammer before they go in, yes.
A very early bow might be an indication that there's something going on in Palace of Darkness or in Eastern. It's tough to tell yet, but I Guess we'll know shortly.
Yeah, climbing is gonna have to be a little bit more careful. Able to grab some hearts from that room though. Like the worst part should be over at this point. It's just that last bridge. And then Aga himself, of course. Speaking of, how many blue balls do you think we're gonna see from Aghanim today?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, go get that bomb. There you go. I'm gonna say 3. Let's go with the classic number.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice amount of blue balls. Like, you wouldn't be upset to see 3 blue balls.
No.
It's kind of to be expected.
Well, we're up to 1. The nice thing with Randomizer, for those who don't know, is that each of these runners is going to be given precisely the same Aghanim fight. So the number of blue balls, which do absolutely no damage to Aghanim, is going to be precisely the same between the two of them.
Yeah, and that's a nice way of like having the races be randomized, but at the same time being fair.
Believe that was 2. Alright, so we'll get a quick check of what's on the ledge there. Pod is a
Ooh, and it's
pendant.
a blue pendant. And the other pendants are Turtle Rock, the green pendant, and the red pendant at Thieves Town.
Oh, this is one of my least favorite pendant setups, to be honest.
Yeah. Especially Thieves Town, because you kind of want to go in there as soon as you have the possibility. Just because it's so easy to just full clear it.
Yeah,
You don't
there's
really have. There's
almost
not very
no
much
requirements.
yeah.
Well, that's rough. Despite that, I think maybe the right idea here is to do Sahasrahla in Eastern first, and then head to Pod if that turns out to be no good.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that. Maybe even go to Hype Cave before dipping Pod.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea either.
Hype Cave has been pretty hype so far, of what I can recollect from version 29.
Yeah, if Hype Cave is all you're really given access to, then there winds up being some pretty decent stuff in there a lot of the time. I think this might be the Eastern play from Mrzwanzig.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, they're gonna have to do Eastern sooner or later. Might as well check it. And together with the check from Sahasrahla, you get as many items, even like 1 item more than going into Pod.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what ClimbingCoder decides to do as soon as he's picked up his hammer. Sahasrahla is rich, but he doesn't otherwise have anything useful for us.
Yeah, he's not very rich anymore.
No, I think we just robbed an old man. Giving himself that quick reminder that this is a 5/6 crystal and will be one of the 2 ones necessary to. I didn't catch what our second 5/6 crystal was.
The second 5/6 crystal was Swamp Palace, everyone's favorite dungeon.
Oh no. Okay. Well, hope there's not anything on Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, right.
An early big key in Eastern sometimes means that there's something nice in the big chest. Not out of the question. I'm
And
mostly
looks like we have a little bit of divergence here. Climbing, heading towards what looks like to be Hype Cave.
yeah. We'll see if your thoughts on this wound up working out. If this really is a hype cave, because so far Eastern Palace is certainly not hype at all. It's a 5-arrow upgrade, one of the least exciting items in the game.
Yeah, it was in the right dungeon at least. Oh, and once again, I'm not sure if that's actually hype in this race. Because
Out of
I don't think they
bombs.
want to go to Trinex.
No.
But once again, no bombs. But luckily this time, it's not so far to go to get some bombs.
That is a troubling find in Hype Cave. Oh dear. Well,
Well, as long as the Myths is the go mode item, they should be fine.
our second item in Eastern is a quarter heart, so we might be inching. Oh, of course, 10 bombs right after that.
And it it didn't even have like the bomb capacity to pick any of those bombs out.
Oh, no.
But a glove, that's pretty big though.
Yeah, this is progression. So then the next question is, I mean, I guess, yes, you continue over this way to check what's in the grove and do the digging game. But after that, I mean, your options are pretty much like your big options, I think, are a toss-up between Thieves Town and Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. Pofa Witcher pendant dungeons. There's a pretty similar amount of items in both of them. Like, it's pretty hard to tell.
Yeah.
Then again, like going to Outcast, you can at least check everything surrounding Thieves Town. You could maybe dip into Skullwoods.
My problem with those two dungeons is that there's no more bombs. What a slap in the face. Oh man. Anyway, there's never good indications that you need to go into Thieves Town or go into Palace of Darkness, because like you were talking about, the item requirements are just too they're just not there. You know, you're just gonna go in there anyway.
Oh, and it looks like climbing is choosing option C instead of going up the mountain.
This is interesting because
Yeah.
you can't do a whole lot up on the mountain.
Like, if they get lucky, they might find mirror or hookshot in the mountain.
Yeah, that would be a best
And
case
if
scenario here.
Like, and if they don't get it, at least they have the spawn point for later on.
Yeah, the
They won't
spawn
have to
point
climb
definitely helps.
the mountain again.
Poor old man. His legs don't work anymore. You can't force him around.
Yeah, it doesn't even get to borrow the cane.
So rude. All right. I am curious. Where are you headed, Svan? I mean, he's headed into the dark world because he doesn't have access to anything else currently. Where do you go when you're in the dark world? What's your next move? Nothing of interest on top of Spectacle Rock, and nothing of interest inside Spectacle Rock either.
But with the with the glove and hammer and the cane, they could actually check Spike Cave as well.
I was about to say, I was like, I was actually gonna start saying, now what do we find in Spike Cave? But I guess we don't find anything in Spike Cave.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
So hopefully for Coder, it won't be anything of major importance.
Yeah. I hate when something like Silver Arrows winds up in there.
Yeah, at least you can finish the game without silvers, at least.
Yeah.
So it looks like they just changed path now, both checking what the other one did earlier on.
Yeah, essentially. So we know that ClimbingCoder is not really going to find anything interesting in here besides his first crystal. So the question I'm wondering is, where is Mrzwanzig headed after that? I still honestly think that the two big options open right now are Thieves' Town and Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's definitely the most item intense options.
Thieves' Town might be the better option just because you also have all of Village of Outcasts and it has a whole bunch of items in there. I think that's where, unless he's also headed up Death Mountain, I think that's the play that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and I kind of like that play.
Yeah, here we go.
Like, if you find something before going into Thieves' Town, like an Outcast, it's a little bit easier just to change your focus instead of, like, Palace of Darkness is so isolated. Once you're there, you're kind of committed to completing it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people prefer to have the mirror first as well, just because Palace of Darkness is kind of a pain to route without the mirror. Thanks to all those branching paths in the dungeon that go off in different directions.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Mrzwanzig is heading into Value Woods.
Yeah, it's not a terrible plan.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick check, and it's kind of famous or infamous for having like a lot of value. So
yeah, I think at this point in the game, when you still haven't found your upgraded gloves, checking all these spots that are available before you have those is probably the better option. Oh, I guess it largely depends. ClimbingCoder is not precisely happy about what he's finding in Eastern Palace so far, and is unfortunately going to still be a little unhappy about this once he gets to the end. This is our last possible spot to check, I think, in Skull Woods.
yeah, it should be, unless they find the big key or Fire Rod.
I hate finding the big key back here. Fire Rod would be hilarious. This has to be the worst spot in the game for Fire Rod to be. Maybe in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, going to Laser Bridge for Fire Rod.
That's, I've never actually seen that happen before.
Yeah, you have to be pretty unlucky for that to happen.
Yeah, the keys in Turtle Rock would have to be set up in an incredibly specific way. So I think that was just money. I don't know what I was paying. I'm not paying.
Yeah,
where was I looking?
It's just a red rupee.
Well, at least I heard it.
Yeah. It's definitely nothing that progressed them.
No.
At this point, they have more money than
Sense.
they could possibly need.
Yeah, we are not going to use 1,000 rupees during this run.
Yeah, this is not bingo, so
All right, I guess it's Village of Outcasts time. It has to be, right?
yeah, once you're here, for sure.
And it's kind of a pain to get back to. So
And you have the
either-
hammer as well, so you know that you can check the big chest in case it has something, and that's the fourth bottle.
There we go. You know what? I would not at all complain about finding 2 red potions in 1 seed. That is super friendly.
Yeah, 4 bottles and 2 of them with potions. They have like 10 hearts at this point, blue mail. So yeah, their defenses and safeties are pretty good. Even have the blue cane for like if things get really rough.
All right, Village of Outcast itself is all garbage. So, I mean, I think you have to do the Thieves Town play while you're here because getting back to here would just be a pain.
Yeah, I think so as well. And looks like Coder is doing the same. Both players don't really want to do Palace of Darkness right now.
I'm going to be excited when the progression is in Palace of Darkness. That's
Yeah,
that's gonna.
it could actually be Catfish as well.
It could be Catfish. We don't want to think about that. Oh, not great so far. Full heart, quarter heart. You know what? That's not the worst. But it does. feel
Yeah,
like-
not picking up the blue mail is not hurting Mrzwanzig right now.
No, not a bad plan. Winds up with 2 bottles full of health and 12 hearts. Not too bad. Mrzwanzig opting to continue on to the back, which I don't
So-
disagree with.
If you do everything except for Palace of Darkness, and you know that Palace of Darkness was open as soon as you finished Aga, like, would that make you feel behind if you realize that, oh, progression is in Palace of Darkness? Maybe my opponent did it straight away.
Yeah, I think especially when you're given a big, like, a choice like this where you know that there was a bottleneck beforehand and now you've kind of been forced into this huge potential diversion between doing the Village of Outcasts area and doing Palace of Darkness. Definitely you have to think, like, what if my opponent went to the other place first? And the worst part about it, right, is the fact that they're both pendant dungeons and that you basically, it wound up that you had to pick one. And if you were wrong about it, then definitely your opponent didn't pick the other one. Or maybe they did. Oh man, actually I'm getting a little anxious just thinking about that. Oh!
Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Does not really open up anything right now because they found both items in Skullwoods.
Yeah, and
But
Skullwood
as soon
is
as you
not
get the
5/6.
Titans,
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, that is technically not progression yet. I mean, they can go up to Skullwoods and get the crystal if they really feel like it, but it's not going to open up anything for them.
yeah, and if I'm not sure, did climbing go into Skullwoods?
Yes, he just finished up his Skullwoods dip.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess the big question is now, what is this 4th item in Thieves Town? Because if it's garbage, then we don't know yet.
Ah, the suspense.
Oh.
Yeah, if it's not in Thieves Town, it's kind of has to be Pod, Catfish, or Spy Cave, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, moment of truth. And at the very least, I mean, they were going to have to come in here anyway, so the fact that they're both making their way in here is good news for them. Mrzwanzig has missed that second hit on the second phase, which puts Blind into sort of a weird pattern. He's opted to take out the cane. That works.
Yeah, he's doing the standard escape play.
Oh dear.
So face down was not the answer.
No, it was not. But you know what? In the end, I think it's going to be better that they came here first because they found something that they needed, but that doesn't really open up anything for them. So they're going to be happy that they actually found that fire rod, and then they're going to have to go off and find some other place that's going to open up.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it was definitely a required item. And it was in the back as well. Like, if they found progression in pod, they might have just dipped the first 4 chests in Feast Town.
Yeah, exactly. So Mrzwanzig is definitely putting off that Palace of Darkness play as long as he possibly can. I really hope that he remembers to go into Spike Cave up here, because I would love to know what's in there.
Yes, Spike Cave is definitely a check that could be pretty hard to route in sometimes, but when you go up here, checking Spectacle Rock, you're right beside it, so it's a pretty good time to do it.
If there's something in there that's required, ClimbingCoder is going to be in an unfortunate situation because they're pretty much just looking over each other's tracks right now.
Yeah, at this point, Spike Cave might be Climbing's last location to check.
Oh, he's got it. He's heading in.
Yeah, and with Blue Cane, you don't even need any bottles for this to be in logic, but they have 4, so they're more than safe.
This is the moment of truth. We're about to figure out whether or not we're headed. Oh! I think we are headed to pod.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, yeah.
Well, unless Catfish has something that is 2 for 3 on required pendant dungeons.
Yeah, at this point you put off pod so long, so maybe they decide to go to Catfish instead first.
Maybe.
Just because of that off chance that maybe pod is not required.
I have to think that with a bow kicking around in Sphere 1 locations, my mind is fixated on Palace of Darkness right now. I'd be willing to bet that...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd be willing to bet that it's bow locked. That the first key...
Not surprise me at this point. Imagine how funny it would be if it was bow locked because of the progression in the first chest.
Oh, I always hate that. When you find, like, boots in the first chest in Palace of Darkness. You had to walk all the way up there just to find out. Alright, give us some good news here. Tell us we're not headed to Catfish. No, so no, not bow locked. So that's suspicious. You do have to. The way the Palace of Darkness works is kind of like a weird. It's got an odd hourglass shape, sort of logically, where there's a lot of stuff in the front and a lot of stuff in the back, and then there's one door in the middle that separates those two parts. In order to make the logic work correctly, there has to be 4 keys in the front half. So typically there's not a whole lot of stuff front. So I wouldn't expect to see anything interesting, but maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's certainly not that interesting.
Yeah, not the most useful item in the game.
Interestingly, Coder is opting to make his way straight over to Skull Woods, although he's going to find some difficulty getting there taking this route, because unfortunately the two halves of Skull Woods are sort of separate from each other, and you can't really get over to one side from the other. So,
yeah, it's a pretty easy mistake to make, but not the biggest time loss.
Yeah, there's our 4 keys, so something's in the back half. It's got to be.
Yeah, and for everyone hoping for an Aga seed paired together with a pedestal seed, we actually have a lot of items so far that we still need. And we're actually only 3 items away from being able to complete the last pendant.
Yeah, unfortunately that Turtle Rock pendant does make it a little difficult for it to show up, just because of the huge wealth of items that need to happen.
Yep, sure.
But then there's a couple other ones, like the flute, or the fact that we still haven't found any medallions, and we're going to need at least one. I would say if we wind up finding the medallion for Turtle Rock somewhere around here, that's a pretty good indication that we might have to dip in there at some point.
Yeah, we need a hookshot, mirror, flute, like medallion, yeah. All things that...
Oh!
There's a cake! So yeah, those are all things that could be technically on pedestal.
What's great about this is that's still not progression. That doesn't do anything for us right now.
That doesn't help them unless they find myths. Or even if they found myths, the cane alone wouldn't do anything, because they can't even get to the east side of Death Mountain yet.
300 rupees. We are inching slowly towards something beyond Helmasaur King.
Yeah, and for every chest that Mrzwanzig is opening here that isn't progression right now. Never mind, there it is.
All right.
So you remember when I said there's 3 items we need to complete Turtle Rock at this point? Now it's only 1.
Oh boy.
And a way to get to the east side as well. So hookshot or mirror.
That is true. But you know what? How often we wind up finding seeds where the medallion for Turtle Rock is on the way to Turtle Rock.
Yeah. The same goes with Meyer, actually. Or at least it feels like it.
So Mrzwanzig headed straight to Ice Palace. This is another bold play, I think. A lot of runners absolutely hate this dungeon, and without hookshot, there are a couple of other routing problems that could happen along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks to that red cane, it's likely logically clearable, but it's going to be interesting seeing a full clear of this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I read a little bit in the player's bios before the game started, and Mrzwanzig wrote in their bio that they don't like to get the fire rod early because they don't want to do ice palace with like low equipment. So I really hope they don't like regret not picking up the blue mail, because that kind of makes the equipment a little bit lower.
It does, yeah. And the other funny thing to me here is that our runners still haven't found a bomb capacity upgrade. And while most of the time you really don't care about that, in this specific case, a bomb capacity upgrade might make you feel a little bit better about the many, many bomb jumps that you can do in this dungeon.
Yeah, for sure.
Ice Palace is a weirdly bomb-heavy dungeon, and if you don't have the hook shot, the odds that you're going to have to do one of those bomb jumps kind of shoots through the roof. Opting to go with the full clear strat instead of the bomb jump strat, which does make sense.
Yeah, that could be an indication that maybe they are prepared to do the bomb jump across like the hookshot path as well.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not we manage to find a.
Yeah,
I
small
always love
key.
that bomb strat.
Yeah. That's another way to spend bombs in this dungeon.
Just so many different ways. New and exciting ways to waste your bombs. To answer the question in chat, which is probably going to take... okay. There's... Ice Palace is a really weird one route. There are cases where that bomb jump can help, and there are cases where it's not going to be helpful. In this particular case, the fact that Mrzwanzig has the red cane means that the bomb jump is probably not going to be helpful, and it's probably going to be easier to route this dungeon normally. However, without that red cane, or if you are in go mode and not going to do any of the other spots, then it's probably better to do the traditional Ice Palace bomb jump. Okay.
So there's... Now this red cane is starting to make a lot more sense, especially if Meyer requires ether.
Yeah, we might have just found the Misery Mire entrance package.
And it looks like Coder has decided to go for pod now as well.
And this is good. He's going to get his progression. It's going to let him continue to route this game. All right, Mrzwanzig, you got 6 bombs. Here we go. All right. There he goes.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, very well done. That is a deceptively difficult bomb jump to pull off.
So it's interesting, they have 4 bottles and none of them has any magic, and they don't have half magic, and they're gonna need to use a full magic bar to break Coaster's shell.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a little problematic. Luckily, I believe that's enough keys to open up the side room and get the extra few pieces of magic
Yeah,
there.
I think it should be.
Hopefully that winds up being enough, but this is a rough
Or
situation.
maybe it's actually not enough. They're gonna use 1 key here, and since they didn't do the bomb jump, they're gonna spend another key to get down to Cold Stair. They're gonna need 1 more key.
Well, or we could find a clutch half magic. No hookshot means getting down into the big chest the old-fashioned way. Yeah.
Oh, there's that key. But deciding to mirror sync without.
That's interesting. 2 items, no iced tea room. I guess figuring that he's going to have to come back there later on anyway with enough magic.
Yeah, like sometimes it's just good to play to your own capabilities. If you don't feel comfortable doing cold stare with this equipment, you might as well save later. He got the progression, so he could do other stuff and then come back with like maybe a better sword or something like that.
Yeah, that is.
It's really pointless to do something if you don't really feel comfortable about it or like you think you're gonna fail, because then you're just gonna spend time perhaps like dying a couple of times instead of like maybe searching for the rest of the items you need.
It is an unfortunate situation. Luckily, having that flute now, yeah, go directly to 2. Get yourself a green potion.
Yeah, with this amount of money, they can just buy everything in the shop.
Probably buy the shop itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, fill yourself up. All right, do you head back? Straight back, or...
And Coder is about to be pretty happy when they see the back, or pretty unhappy when they realize they could have got this a lot earlier.
Yeah, I'm curious actually where he's going to go after that, because we know that Misery Mire, pretty good idea. I missed that quick check on Mrzwanzig of what that medallion wound up being. That's also nice. Okay, I'm going to say that since he's walking over it, yeah. Okay.
Vanilla Ether.
So Ice Palace was indeed the Misery Mire, helper kit.
Yeah, starting kit for going into Mire.
I think this is good. You've got the cane, you've got the boots, you've got the right medallion.
Yeah, and now you also have plenty of potions in case you need it.
Yeah, which for a Master Sword, plain old-fashioned arrow fight against Vitreous, it's gotta feel pretty good. Okay, Coder, you've got your mitts. You're about to get your cane.
Does not seem very happy to get it. Or, yeah, that was just death warp, never mind.
Is he going to Helmasaur King?
Since he death warped, I would say yes. And it kind of looks like it. I think Helmasaur has the last item, right?
He does, yes. So this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's the hook shot in Mr. Mire.
Okay.
That opens up a lot of things.
Following those breadcrumbs. So
That basically opens up everything on Death Mountain, including maybe Turtle Rock as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, that does mean that according to the game wanted you to go into Ice Palace so that you could get all the stuff to get into Misery Mire, so that you could go back and finish Ice Palace, since that big key was over on the right-hand side. But...
you silly game.
Oh dear. Alright, so what are we missing? Mirror?
Yeah, we're gonna need mirror, and we're gonna need Yeah, I think that's it.
And if we find the mirror, we don't need the book.
Yeah.
Okay. We are a mirror away from go mode.
So at least they're gonna be able to go mode swamp them.
Yeah, that's always the best possible feeling. Although, I have to say these runners are going to be hunting around better, so...
Yeah, there's always a pretty big possibility that you could get the last, like another sword upgrade in Ganon's Tower. And like even if they would hit go mode right now, they might still like check a few convenient chests on the way.
Yeah, Swamp Palace tends to be a really good place for that because you wind up, as you're go moding, you're just passing by a bunch of chests. So it looks like, unless I miscounted these chests, we've got a vanilla big key in Mystery Mire, sadly. If this Helmosaur King is hanging on to...
Yeah, Coder using the sword as an extension to be a little bit safer against Helmosaur, which makes a lot of sense because you kind of don't want to face tank him. It makes the fight a little bit slower, but not too much slower, so it's a safe way to just get it done.
He gets a little crazy at the end. Oh no!
There's the mirror, are you kidding me?
Oh no!
That's very unfortunate for Mrzwanzig, but that could be a long time before he goes back into pot again.
Oh, that is the worst case scenario, I think, here. So yeah,
this is gonna be very interesting. It's interesting to see how they decide to route this.
So Palace of Darkness takes you straight to Ice Palace, and then Ice Palace takes you... Well, I guess he's going to Tower of Hera first. This, from an emotional standpoint, this makes sense to me. I really don't want...
Yeah, so...
Ice Palace.
Pendant Feast Town had 1 required item. Pendant Pod had 3 required items.
Yeah.
Like, who needs a pedestal seed when you have to get all the items from pendants anyways?
So that does mean that the dip into Thieves Town was like, they would have been sent on a wild goose chase before they ever found that fire rod if they didn't go in there first.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of like Coder's idea of just going up to Death Mountain. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the right decision, because actually we didn't have anything at all on Death Mountain this seed that was required.
No, we haven't been to East Death Mountain. We have no idea what's over there.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. You don't expect that an hour in, but yeah, it's just never sent them there.
So once they going for the damage boost against Vitreous, get some Master Swords spins in.
These are tough strats, and I wouldn't have blamed him for using that Cane of Burnout. It's almost got it.
Yeah, like the important part when you do these Master Sword swings is to make sure you take damage from the goo instead of the ice. And pulls it off pretty nicely, and then just machine gun down the last eye.
Well, he's got it.
So at this point, I think it seems way more likely that Coder is gonna go into Ice Palace and then Meyer, then Mrzwanzig might be going back into Pod. Since it's a pendant, like Coder is gonna have to do Ice and Meyer at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see Mrzwanzig take the back route. Oh, no, never mind. He's just using location of blue. So back into Ice Palace he goes. This time with plenty of magic to finish the place. The other nice thing for ClimbingCoder is that he's going to be able to do Misery Mire and Desert Palace at the exact same time. And I think if he winds up going into Misery Mire first, he will wind up in go mode thanks to it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's also going to be interesting to see what the medallion is for Turtle Rock, because I could see both our runners being baited into going into Turtle Rock. Like you have, if it's Ether, like Coder doesn't have it right now, but we know it's in Ice Palace, which they're gonna go sooner or later. Like Ether, if that's Turtle Rock, like you have everything you need to full clear it, and there's a lot of items in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, well,
oh, Mrzwanzig only having one bomb, but it should be fine as long as he. No, I'm gonna be quiet for a while.
Oh dear. And no mirror either.
Yeah, I bet every single bomb upgrade is gonna be here in the East F Mountain. We haven't seen any yet. Coder doing Spike here now. Fortunately for Coder, he didn't really get hurt by not doing it earlier.
He's not going to be able to route in West F Mountain to not having, or not while he's down there anyway. He'd have to climb back up. So I'm curious whether he goes to, or East F Mountain, whether he goes there or whether he winds up heading straight to Ice Palace, which we know is like,
yeah, Coder doing 7 quid in Spike Cave. That's in the Dark World, so he's starting at the Pyramid again since they have the mirror. Gonna have to 7 quid again to get back up to the mountain.
yeah, this is crazy. Like, of all the things to be poor of in this seed, there are just no bomb capacity upgrades.
Yeah, and we've seen like both runners paying a price for that at some point in this run.
I bet you this seed got seeded with the maximum possible amount of junk in Ganon's Tower. And it's all just bomb capacity upgrades. Coder is opting to do East F Mountain. I don't blame him. Like, it absolutely makes sense when you're... Or, I don't know that much. It's difficult to guess that Ice Palace is just going to have everything that...
Yeah, for sure. Like, most of the times, people that want to go to, like, Death Mountain, the east side, as soon as they have the possibility. So I don't blame them at all. Like, there's way more chests up here than there are items in Ice Palace, right?
course, this bomb. Just, all right, Paradox Cave. I mean, we know that it's not going to be the progression we're looking for here. However, still have the opportunity to find third sword and silver arrows. Those could easily be over. Or a mushroom. It's also possible. Oh, the triple bomb kill on those.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
That was... You see 2 a lot of the time, but 3 is a little tough. Now
we're gonna see another triple kill here, but in a little bit of another fashion.
Yeah, this is tough. I guess he's gonna opt to take the safe route and just blast these things with the fire rod until they die.
Yeah, he has the money and the food to restock later on if he wants to, and like taking the safe route, why not? Like that's some of the times the safe route is also the fastest one. Like just firing them down quickly. All of that struggle for 10 arrows. I mean, if it was a bomb upgrade, sure, but 10 arrows.
Here we go. Come on, bomb upgrade. Nope. Well, he did find that other plug. We're not entirely bomb core anymore. Be a little bit careful. Oh, come on.
Double fetch.
All the stupid things to be okay. Well, I think the good news here is that really the right plan right now for Coder is to head to Ice Palace, so hopefully
I think so as well.
Those brainwaves reach him.
They have a couple of mirror checks they could do, as well as like King's Tomb. But yeah, like Ice Palace, you're gonna have to do sooner or later.
I understand the hatred, especially if you don't have shot yet. Like without hookshot, even though you have red hookshot, it's still really kind of it feels bad going into Ice Palace, I'll say.
Yeah, so we're gonna see catfish here. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe turn in the mushroom as well, but maybe they want to save the mushroom to do the fake powder.
Alright, finally Mrzwanzig has his +5 bomb upgrade, so we're on even ground here.
Yeah, I think he pretty much maybe wanted to have that one Ice Palace run earlier. Yeah, 1 hour and 14 minutes for the first bomb upgrade. That's pretty amazing, actually.
Alright, Coder, you're gonna go. You're going to get whatever the witch is hanging on to, and then what? Do you head to Ice Palace? Because we know. I mean, it's the only dungeon you can... It's the only crystal dungeon you can go into right now.
Yeah, and this would be a pretty good opportunity to buy some potions for Ice Palace as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you know your... No.
I even got some extra funding for some more potions.
Fortunately, we already know that Tower of Hera is a little bit of a bust as well.
Yeah, the most exciting thing we could find right now would be a sword upgrade or silvers for sure. That's something that's gonna make the run like easier.
Coder just remembered that he doesn't have the
easier and a little bit faster. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I was just saying, Coder realized he didn't have a hook shot, wasn't able to make his way over to this side of the there.
Oh yeah.
Right. How many? Oh, hey.
Yeah, so that's a pretty nice find. Like the worst thing for Coder right now, checking these overworld locations would be something that could possibly sidetrack him.
I'm not sure whether that first hit on Mrzwanzig's poke or an actual hammer hit. Guess we're about to find out. Yeah, it was a poke. All right. Oh dear. Ah, there we go. Okay. It's fine.
Yeah, poke me once, shame on you. Poke me twice, shame on me.
Coder unfortunately appears to be doing as much overworld as possible before heading into Ice Palace, which sadly we know is not going to really help.
Yeah, I still have the whole smith sequence here to check, compared together with like the mirror spot and the shovel as well. It's not a bad play. It's just unfortunately the wrong play.
Yeah. We'll also unfortunately still be waiting on Mrzwanzig finishes the basement here in Tower of Hera. It's probably going to do Dark Death Mountain. I would guess that's how his routing here is working, since he doesn't have the mirror. It's not going to be incredibly useful for him, unfortunately.
So Mrzwanzig is gonna check Hookshot Cave and everything else on the east side of the Dark World Death Mountain. Then the big question is like, is Turtle Rock Ether? And if it is, will Mrzwanzig go into Turtle Rock? Because that could be a pretty big time sink.
That is actually really, really worth, especially with how early they that ice rod. It might be sitting at the back of his mind, just, wait, is that what that ice rod is for? I have to imagine, unless I'm just talking crazy, I have to imagine that you go to that. Maybe not. Thinking maybe you go finish up the locations that you know your opponent will have had to go into already, but maybe not. Maybe you go to Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Coder is, unfortunately, I think, yeah, he left the purple chest on the mirror spot, so couldn't really get the chest by going back into the Dark World.
Well, At the very least, this will give Mrzwanzig a little bit more time to finish the checks that he's doing and perhaps catch up at least knowledge-wise before Coder finally makes his way into...
Yeah, and in the bio, like, Coder is pretty new to the game, so it's definitely a possibility that they think that they can't clear Ice Palace without the hookshot. So that could be a reason why not going in.
Yeah, it is a little bit of arcane knowledge. Have that. Once you have that cane, you're probably fine. Unfortunately, having the mirror but not the flute, so stuck taking the long way, taking that chest down to our good friend. I forget what we call him. Do we call him Greg? Do we call him George?
I just call him that guy.
The rest of Hookshot Cave, unfortunately, also a bust. Now, the moment of truth.
It is Bombo, so
Okay.
saved.
By a hair.
Yeah.
That would have been very, very bad.
Yeah, that could have been very unfortunate.
All right, Mrzwanzig, where do you go next?
Oh no, is he going into Swamp Palace?
I think that might be what's happening, going into Swamp Palace without the hook shot? Or not.
Looks like they changed their mind.
Get your butt to ice.
Yep. If Coder goes into ice now, the time for Mrzwanzig to find that mirror is drastically... Oh wait, they're going to Ice Road Cave because they didn't have any bombs the first time they went there.
Oh, that is right.
And meanwhile, Mrzwanzig is going to check another location that a lot of runners like to skip early on because it's pretty out of the way. But with the flute and the boots, it's definitely a lot faster check to make.
Yeah, same thing with Agana. Who has our sword? What a jerk.
Yeah, that was as close as Zelda 1 you can get, right?
An old man in the cave with a sword?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it looks like Coder is going into Ice Palace while Mrzwanzig is gonna find a second sword.
There you go. All right. Now take that thing and kill Helmasaur King.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, oh man, I could have bought her when I went to my Ice Palace.
Uh-oh. Where are you going? Where are you to? Oh, shovel spot. That's right. Clearing as much overworld as he possibly can before the inevitable double dip back into Palace of Darkness. It's going to have to happen sometime. If he does it immediately after this, this is going to be a close race.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you think the advantage would still be to Mrzwanzig if it goes straight to pod right now, but we don't really know how long it's going to take before they go back there.
Yeah. Okay, well, he's opting to do Skullwoods, which I think is a pretty decent idea. Honestly, like, when you're sort of stuck in a siege like this, it's a great idea to just do something that you can. Or you know what? Maybe...
Yeah, they're probably just doing the Smith sequence as well. It's a little bit more annoying to do without the mirror. but that doesn't mean it can't hold progression.
Hammer pegs as well. ClimbingCoder with that bomb count advantage going into Ice Palace. Gonna have a little bit easier time making his way through.
So both Flute and Ether was on the left side of Ice Palace, right?
Yes, it was our whole. Unfortunately, Misery Mire is where we were hiding our hookshot. Curious, honestly, Coder being relatively new at this game. Does he know the bomb jump to get over on right side?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Did we find anything important over there? Was one of our...
I'm not sure where the Flute was.
I don't remember either.
I think Flute was maybe on the right side, but I'm not sure. Looks like they're going straight in for Coles there, not grabbing the Flute quite yet.
Okay. That is an interesting plan. Huh. Well, maybe it's nice to just get it out of the way. Don't face tank those. You do have to. Yeah, you got 3 hours left.
Yeah, you have a potion. Use it.
Okay, well, you're down to 1, so it's not that bad. Okay, everything's fine.
Whew, I was not even worried there.
Okay, so you found your second item. Get your butt back in there. I mean, it can't be hookshot locked, right? Because
no, it can't be.
Yeah,
you have to get it in order to get the hookshot. So maybe it was in the ice tea room.
Go back in. Go. What?
I think it's got to be in the ice tea room.
What? Go.
Oh,
What? I don't understand what's happening.
they might think the rest of the dungeon is locked by the hookshot, which would be very unfortunate.
Okay, well, I think we have a race again because we now have 2 runners that have 1 item that they need locked inside a dungeon that they need to go back to.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be the last check for both runners
Yeah,
at this point, to be honest.
Mrzwanzig, I believe, is nearly out of overworld locations to check.
Yeah, and it looks like Coder is deciding to go into Swamp Palace.
I hope to God that Bombos is not in the front of
Oh,
Swamp
yeah.
Palace.
Ooh, that would not be fun. Especially since that would make like Coder the only one who could actually enter Turtle Rock, because Mrzwanzig can't even enter Swamp at all.
Yeah. Oh man. Even Book would not be horrible. Okay, I think Mrzwanzig is doing it.
It looks like it. This could be This could very well be the game deciding factor.
Yeah, I don't think Coder's gonna find anything that he's looking for in here.
Yeah.
God, if it's Bombos. Flip this table over.
But it's one of those things as well, like sometimes you don't really know that an item can be in a certain location. I think every person that started playing Rando has come into a situation like that, when like Hookshot was in Hookshot Cave or Mitts in King's Tomb, like something like that.
Yeah, there's
something
a couple
you
of
have to
very
like learn.
there's a couple of complicated dungeons like that, right? Like Palace of Darkness is a pretty complicated dungeon as far as keys go, but you're never gonna like they're all just gonna show up along the way. Whereas Ice Palace has a whole bunch of different ways that it can be logically accessible or inaccessible depending on where different things are and whether or not you have that red cane. So it's a little weird. If you find one of the keys early on, then it's just it's confusing.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just watching all of these, hoping that they're not bombos. And I saw bombs come out of that chest. And for a second, my brain was like, "Is that bombos?" No.
Yeah, bombos is not the plural for bombs. Luckily. That would make this game a bit confusing.
You mean if I put down 3 bombs at once, that's not the same thing as bombos?
I don't know, you can throw them up in the air, it's almost going to be the same animation.
Oh gosh, if you're Mrzwanzig and you're coming in here and this is your last option in the world, and you know that there's got to be some sort of progression here, I have to imagine you got to be thinking like, oh man, how screwed am I?
Yeah, I would feel very much behind at that point. But at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard not to feel behind when something like that happens.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, probably not something PG.
Okay. So do we have a runner in go mode? We have a runner in go mode.
We have a runner in go mode for sure.
Fantastic. 1 hour,
And
33 minutes.
there are pretty fast dungeons left as well to complete. Swamp in go mode is really quick. And Mafiola, you just have to go to their back straight away. And Desert, yeah, you just have to go in and pick up the big key. And then maybe decide to beat the boss as well. Could be good.
Yeah, we've got all the stuff that we need. You know, we're not going to get boots locked at a desert. We're not going to get boots locked out of, I mean, boots were necessary anyway, apparently, here. But they're not going to have a problem in Ganon's Tower. Everything's accessible in there. It's just a straight shot to the end of the game at this point. So Coder finding fortunately not finding Bombos in Swamp, but not finding a whole lot of anything else.
Yeah, going up to the mountains, I'm not really sure what they intend to do up here.
Yeah, Coder already checked Spike Cave.
Yeah, I think they checked everything that they actually could check on the mountain at this point.
suppose, yeah, he may have missed the medallion for Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, that's actually right. Now that I think about it, they never checked the medallion.
Yeah, if he can get in here, that'd be... But we know that he can't. We know that he's not going to be able to. This is going to be another dead end for him.
Yeah, and at that point, I think Ice Palace is maybe the only thing left for them to do. But at this point, it might be a little bit too late.
Yeah, no matter what, I think Coder is a little behind here because Mrzwanzig is cleaning up these dungeons. Desert Palace is done now. That's right. Gets Quake. That's not going to be useful at all. So yeah, cleaning up Desert Palace, cleaning up Misery Mire. Just has to head down to Swamp Palace. I don't know if he did clean up Skull Woods yet, so that still has to be done.
Yeah, those two are pretty quick though. Like they should be up on the mountain, not too far from now. Also have Butter Sword, like even if they don't find silvers, like Master Sword, Butter Sword, silverless is not like the worst thing in the world.
No. 6 hits in the first 2 phases of Ganon is a breeze.
Yeah. And also having 4 potions helps a lot if you're gonna do that fighting Green Mail.
Coder, I'm curious, where are you off to?
Oh, they never checked the Graveyard Ledge.
That is right.
Because they had to... they mirrored when they were gonna check Kingston, but never did Graveyard Ledge.
We know there's not a whole lot of anything. Mrzwanzig is taking the fast route through here. Not bothering to check that vulnerable wall. Probably not going to check the compass chest.
Yeah. Like you have a pretty good chance of finding the silvers in Ganon Star when you look for the big keys, like anyway.
Yeah, I think at this point it has to be in Rock or in Ganon's Tower, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Unless I guess we didn't look too deeply into Desert Palace.
Yeah, that's right. They only got the big key.
Well, Coder's heading up to find his 4th sword. Nice, but not really a progressive item, so I'm not going to do anything for him in that way. Still needs to head into Ice Palace for that 3rd item. Hopefully he does know that there's a 3rd item in there. Somewhere. Mrzwanzig is opting to properly go mode this place. You know, I don't blame him. Like, you gotta think that after spending all that time and not having the mirror, only to have to clear the entire world before double dipping Palace of Darkness, I suspect you gotta think, like, I can't be stopping to look at the chests.
Yeah, I think so as well. Every second matters, especially if you think you're behind. And Coder is checking out the map, not really sure what's missing.
Yeah. Hopefully he knows.
Yeah, it's a super unfortunate thing when that happens. Like that's one of the worst feeling when you know you're missing something, but you have no idea what. And there's bombs.
Well, that's useless to us. Okay, so I am taking a quick peek at his tracker on his own stream. He does have Ice Palace listed as having one remaining chest in it. It's just a question of whether or not he knows that he can get in there. I think he might be thinking of it.
I think that's the problem. Like, it doesn't really matter if you know there's an item there if you don't think you can get to it.
Yeah. But at the very least, he hasn't mismarked himself. He might even be headed there right now. I don't.
Yeah, it might go for the Lake Hiley Island first, but no. You remember that it was just arrows or something like that.
No, I think he's doing it. He's doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh my God, he's doing it.
Fortunately, maybe a little bit too late, but it's very nice when you're stuck and you finally at least realize what you have to do.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing would be to have to forfeit for not realizing how to get an item.
So it must have been a nice tea chest, right? Because
yeah, I think so.
The only accessible.
That's the only one you can get to without the hookshot, I think.
Yeah.
At this point.
But I think like a triple dip into Ice Palace. No, this wouldn't be a triple dip into Ice Palace. This would still be a double dip. I was thinking he hadn't killed the Cold Stair.
Yeah, Mrzwanzig did a triple dip because of the bomb situation.
Right. We'll just not count that. The bomb situation was a lot in this seed.
Yeah, and actually, Coder has to be a little bit careful with his keys here as well.
He does, yes.
I mean bombs.
Okay, well, he's got that at least.
Yeah, like technically they don't need any more bombs now because they don't have to do the bomb drone. And Mafiola is just going down straight away.
Yeah. That fight is a piece of cake with tempered butter.
So that means Mrzwanzig has 7 crystals now.
He does, which means that we get to play a little game, I believe.
Yeah, there's 22 chests in Gannis Towers in the basement where the big key can be, and we want to know if you can guess the right one. Which number will be the number that Mrzwanzig picks the big key?
So go ahead and get your guesses in the chat, and if you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or if you have donated at least 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you get the opportunity to get onto the leaderboard for this channel as well. Which, yeah, doesn't do anything special, but it's nice to have your name on there. It's correct that one time. Everybody likes to be right. Where do you think our big key is going to show up?
I picked number 14. I usually just pick a random number.
I'm
What do
going
you
to
think it's
put
going to be?
in a 21.
21, eh?
Yeah, I think that it's going to show up right before, like, we're going to have this exciting build up to go to the tile room, but it's not going to show up there. Yeah, ClimbingCoder's got his flute.
Yep.
Get out of there, man.
Last couple of bumps to get out some frustration, and I don't blame him.
Yep. Get your butt to Misery Mire. Okay. Mrzwanzig entering Ganon's tower here.
So, which route do you think Mrzwanzig is going to take here in Ganon's tower?
This is the tough thing, because like if you think you're this far behind that you're not checking anything, you might do something crazy in here, like do full right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Or you could just do that instead. So, if you guessed number one, you are our today's winner.
Oh my gosh.
And the correct answer was orange use nut. Well played, sir. I think they kind of deserved a number one big key after this seed.
And a small key on the way up.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's amazing. That is the best possible Ganon's tower you can get. Oh dear. Okay, so Mrzwanzig is in a good place here to have a sub 2 hour time, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I think something disastrous has to happen for this to not be a sub 2 hour.
Yeah, I believe he still has potions left. I don't think he used all the ones they got, so hopefully should be fine. He might make a check or a couple checks for silver arrows on the way up. Probably not. Personally, I'm excited to hear Ganon say, "Did you find the silver arrows in Turtle?" Because no, Ganon, we did not find the silver arrows in Turtle. Why would you put them there?
Yeah, that's the worst possible location to put them. How clever of you to hide your secret weakness in the place I would never check.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has another weakness. The poor way this game was programmed.
Yeah, if you can do a swing of your sword and you have Master Sword or higher, then you can hurt Ganon while he's teleporting, exactly when he starts to teleport.
Coder opted to do Desert Palace first, which I guess makes sense in the mirror, and wound up finding the powder.
Yes, it's a pretty nice safety to have.
Yep. Lovely to have when you're going up Ganon's tower.
And that was super fast Lamolas. The Butter Sword is a pretty efficient way to take them down quickly. So I'm hoping that Mrzwanzig is going to check the last chest in hopes of getting silvers, and it's going to be that legendary 10 bomb drop or 10 bomb upgrade.
Oh, I think they found the 10 or the 10 bomb upgrade.
Yeah,
oh,
the
no.
upgrade.
Yeah, I don't think they found the 10 bomb upgrade yet. Boy, that'd be exciting. So I think I'm vindicated here. Probably the rest of those bomb upgrades are in the basement of Ganon's tower. We're just never going to see them. Too bad. All right, Mrzwanzig, are you checking these chests? Oh, we got a nicer shield.
Yeah, the shield works against those tongue statues shooting fireballs at you, so good placement. But maybe not super important right now.
And speaking of that bomb limitation. What's the point?
That's amazing.
All right, well, I mean, we weren't.
I love this game sometimes.
we weren't heading to Laser Bridge anyway, so.
Yeah.
And we've already passed all of the whiz robes in the game, so why not? Ooh.
Hey, heart refill.
It's not
That's
silvers,
pretty
but
nice, actually.
yeah, it's the next best thing to silvers.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Like, he didn't have powder, but it got full health anyways.
Alright, this is not a great setup for our first round of Aghanim. We gotta knock back 6 of these balls to him. That's a little bit better. Oh, well, never mind, blue balls. He's getting revenge for before from when he only put up 2 blue balls and then wound up killing him.
Yeah, that's a really nice finisher, though. And there's only the big pig left to defeat.
Beautiful setup. I don't know whether or not he has that 3rd upgrade. I don't think they ever found a half match.
And Coder has found the hookshot, so he's now officially in go mode as well.
Entering go mode. Unfortunately, entering go mode at 20 minutes after. Also, maybe you should have picked up that ball. Oh, where are all the bombs in this seed? Since when is that a thing? When is that the problem?
Yeah, that's... I think a lot of things in this seed was pretty like unusual.
Oh, careful, Mrzwanzig. You can't really face tank these things with a green mail.
Yeah, at least it's not a hug from Ganon, and he's already passed the 2 first phases thanks to that butter sword.
Okay. We're good. 3rd phase, half done.
Yep, only 2 more hits, and then it's time for a silverless phase. Preparing with that lamp to get the torch glitch makes that fight a lot easier.
In the light world?
So checkerboard cave?
I mean, I think we've got checkerboard and we've got mimic cave, and that's basically it.
Oh yeah, mimic cave, so that would basically be Turtle Rock then.
Yep.
I guess it could be on the tablets as well.
And it could be on the pedestal.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, we'll figure out what's on the pedestal in a bit. Fortunately, he's got that 2nd bottle of blue magic, so he's got plenty of magic to do this with the fire up. Ooh, sets up for the triple.
Yeah, that's a really nice setup. Beautiful fight.
We have a winner.
Indeed we have. Spam your GGs in chat for Mr. Mrzwanzig. It's gonna finish in roughly about 1 hour 54 minutes and 30 seconds. And how this seed turned out, like doing a sub 2 hour with all the mishaps that happened and all the difficult routing decisions that were put to the test, like that's a really good time.
And he somehow ended the domination of Dr. Wily at the same time. So GG on finishing 2 games simultaneously.
Yeah, that's impressive. Oh, I just realized what you meant now with the bombs for Coder. Which Coder
Yes.
unfortunately realized as well.
Yes.
Yikes. Yeah, all those rage bombs.
Yeah, I don't know where you were supposed to get bombs this seed. All right. Well, should we see if Mrzwanzig wants to come in here for a chat, perhaps?
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. And Coder decides to just do Swamp Palace before finishing up Meyer. Makes sense. Clear your head a little bit and go get those bombs.
Let's see if I can find him. One moment. Nope, he is not in this server, so let's search for him. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Right to this one.
And we're joined by Mr. Mrzwanzig. GG's.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well played. So, what are your
That was a
first
thing.
thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts about this thing?
I can't really blame the seed. All the stuff that cost me time, I really have no one but myself to blame.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm very curious to watch this back and see what Coder's been doing, because he's not in GT yet, and I'm kind of wondering how.
honestly, he finished Palace of Darkness the first time he went in. His big problem was leaving Ice Palace without the flute.
Ah!
Yeah. Wound up
Did the reverse me. I left with the flute, but without the crystal.
Oh, and the razor blade on pedestal. The silver arrows were on pedestal.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, that is indeed.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Oh well, the game gave you a butter sword, so no worries.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
thing was...
there was.
go
Oh,
ahead.
you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this scene was special in like a lot of ways. Everything from the only thing on Death Mountain being required was the crystal at Hera and Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that was.
to,
That was when I worried, when I did all of Death Mountain and got nothing.
Yeah. At that point, like when you both unlocked Death Mountain, we realized like no mode, because you found the hookshot and Coder found the mirror almost like the same time.
Further was reasonably good about myself. It's until the Ice Palace thing worried me, obviously, because I had to leave it twice. The first time I left simply because I had like 4 hearts and a practically empty map. Farming magic would have taken forever, and even then I would have likely died. I mean, I had a red potion, but
So
at
actually,
my losses, I'll come back later.
come to think about that, how did you feel about your the bomb situation in this seed.
Yes, that was something that I was part of because Aghanim was available almost immediately. But then before I went, the Eastern also became available, and I would have gone and done Eastern first, but I realized my last one getting into Ice Rod Cave, I won't be able to do Sahasra's Hut. So let's go do Aghanim first. And then yeah, the bombs just never really showed up after that either. And then once my second time in Ice Palace hurt me. That's where I first started to really when I did that.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, is that the only way you can kill those enemies? Because I was like, if I found out after this that I could have just killed them with ether or something, I am going to cry.
I do believe that's the only way you can kill them.
Which ones? The Stalfos?
Yeah.
You can actually kill those with the Cane of Burna. It takes a while, but you can sort of just force them into the corner and they will eventually die.
I had at that point that might have been a viable strategy.
Yeah, I think that was your only option at that point without having bombs.
That's interesting. I wasn't gonna try everything in my inventory and look silly doing it. I was just like, we'll just go get bombs.
Yeah, and we can safely say that you both had like a certain point of issues with bombs in the seed.
Yeah, I can imagine. It was really stingy with those.
It took, I think for you it took 1 hour and 40 minutes to get a single bomb upgrade even. And for Coder,
I wasn't really paying attention to that.
Yeah, for Coder it wasn't too much of a difference either, because you both went up to the Death Mountain, like, not too far from each other.
Mm-hmm.
The 143 collection rate is pretty good. I mean, given the fact that you had sort of the perfect Ganon's Tower, and
it's like it's like perfect GT, skipping TR, and Go Mode Swamp. Aside from that, I had done, by the time I went and got Mirror, I had done everything I could, obviously.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about like the first time you went into Pod? You checked basically everything before going there, and then the second time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel too bad about that because I still had been finding useful stuff in the places I had been checking. Thieves, I found the fire rod, so that's okay. This check has officially been validated, so I'm not wasting time doing that. That's good. And all the other stuff was stuff that I imagine my opponent would check anyway, so I wasn't really worried yet when I went into Pod, even though that was the last. And then I find Mitts, and I'm like, okay. I'm done here. This is gonna unlock all the things, and I never have to come back here. And then I look at my tracker, and I'm like, okay, which things can we do? Oh, ice. That's a crystal. Yes, let's go do that. And that didn't work out too well. I got the flute, and that helped.
Yeah, that was actually surprising. My other question, I guess, that I was wondering about the seed is, so you came to this bottleneck at one point where you can go to Village of Outcasts or you could go to Palace of Darkness. And, I mean, it turns out that both of them were the right idea. But
yeah,
why Thieves Town first, I guess?
Well, frankly, it was more a matter of not really having realized that Thieves was also a pen. Like, when that started to head there, I'm like, oh, that's also a pen, and well, that's basically a toss-up then.
Well,
I mean, I realized it as I was going there, but at that point I was already committed. and it wasn't like such a big deal either way that I was gonna change my mind at that point. So that's pretty much what that was.
Fair enough. I mean, Thieves Town as a pendant is kind of fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, even if it had been like if I had been aware that both were dense, even then I probably would have gone Thieves because I feel it's and there's more stuff around there anyway that you're gonna want to check. So, I don't know. But in the mindset of I'm probably gonna end up checking both. You know, I did.
Exactly. We've got ClimbingCoder making his way. I was just going to say over to Ganon's Tower, so we'll see him doing the climb very shortly.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't too worried until I really started running out of locations to check for that mirror, and then you know you have to check all these slow one-off locations, and doing frog and purple chest for that mirror, and going all the way to catfish just for the sake of catfish, and you know at that point, the moment a red rupee drops from catfish, I'm like, I've lost this race.
Yeah, I gotta say we were very much relieved when we realized that Bombos was required for Tutrock and not Ether.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I would have absolutely been in there if not. I would have gone in there when I was on Death Mountain if it was Ether.
Yeah, that turned out being lucky. We actually, I think honestly, until Coder missed out on getting that flute, he was probably ahead just by virtue of the fact that he had gone to the end of Palace of Darkness and found the mirror, and we were suspecting that he was going to sort of take the same route and go through Ice Palace and then go through Mire and do the whole thing, but it didn't wind up working out that way.
So did he then like go and check Swamp or something like without the hook shot because he wouldn't have had that?
Yeah, he checked everything he could, including Swamp.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah, that was actually something that was in the back of my mind, like, because my mind started making up like crazy scenarios of, okay, what could my opponent have possibly done to make it so that I'm not already 15 minutes behind? And like Swamp was the main thing, is that was one of the few things that I didn't end up checking, because by the time I got Mirror out of go mode. So like if he got stuff in a weird order somehow to where he would have full cleared Swamp or something. Hookshot was also one of the last things I found, so I was thinking it wasn't too likely, and
Well, we were thinking that going into Thieves Town first before Palace of Darkness and finding that fire rod might have wound up being an advantage for you, but it turns out that Coder did the exact same thing and went into Thieves Town first. So the fire rod didn't wind up trolling anybody for a long time.
Yeah, it's always nice when you've already checked Skull without the fire rod and you're like, it's a crystal, it's not a 5/6. All I have to do here is kill Multiply. I found both of the items. I can just do this at the end of the game. Or whenever it suits me. Because I hate Multiply with a fiery passion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, Multiply is not really a fair fight. It's kind of designed to be unfair. So how about the beginning? Like, having the blue cane to start with? That's arguably one of the hardest way to get as a weapon from the uncle.
I think it's honestly one of the easiest, except for farming bombs.
Yeah.
Like you're very limited in how many things you can kill, but killing them is as easy as standing on top of them. So it's not hard execution-wise. It's just, are you gonna get the bombs? There's a good chance you won't unless you spend a lot of time like hitting things with pots. But we got the bombs pretty early, so you know at that point it's just chill.
Yeah, it's always.
then,
Oh, go ahead.
And then I was quite happy that I found 2 swords early rather than 1 sword and a cape, because, you know, I knew I was going to have to do Aghanim either way.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Seeing the hammer on the lumberjack as well, like that kind of points for a pretty early legacy, and then you got 2 swords and a boot straight away after that to get up to Moon Pearl and
yeah, and that's something that I didn't really mind, because that's like, okay, well, at least you get these useful items like lamp and boots and swords early,
Yeah.
and you know. Okay, you have to spend a few minutes killing Aga, but so does your opponent, so, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. And both of you did Aga pretty early, like, which makes sense if the reward is a hammer, including Dark World. But I think like both of you did Aga before even going into Eastern.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, except for the bomb situation. One other thing that I found kind of amusing was that I was stuck with Master Sword for a fair while, and then I found the next 2 like very quick succession, and at least one of them was available super early on because it was a Gina. And, you know, I know that most people are going to put that off, but it was one of those things that I was then also thinking, ah, crap, you know, he could have been killing these bosses much faster if he's gotten the swords earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And I think both of you went around with the Master Sword for quite a while. Coder checked King soon, quite a while before you got both swords, or both the last swords.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was
It took quite a while for him to get Butter though. And speaking of Coder, he's fighting against Aga 2 now. And
yeah, I'm just gonna let you guys talk about this.
Having a little bit of a time in there, but yeah, he's got it.
Yep, celebrating with some hookshot.
All right, just the Ganon fight left to go. And we are good.
Yeah, I don't really know how much, if Coder has any potions left. Oh, okay, it looks like he has a blue potion left. So he used at least 2 potions during the climb. But getting the torch glitch is like one of the most vital things to do during this not Sword, but Silverless fight.
To put off hookshotting everywhere, or put off using that other potion until using the 4th phase, I believe. She's getting close to.
Yeah. Just hope that it doesn't miss the torch glitch because of the potioning, but yeah, he remembered to use the potion before taking out the lamp. Oh, unfortunately misses it.
Well, that's going to be a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if he has another one, but if he decides to go with the lamp on this, he should have enough magic.
Yeah, with the boots, you can do this pretty decently. Just with that lantern.
Yeah, the fire bat's being a little bit annoying here, and ooh, no more potions. Yeah, it decides to fall. That makes sense. Do it straight away if you know that you don't have enough magic to complete this fight. There's no reason to drag it out any longer. Just go refill and go back again.
That's one other thing I definitely want to shout out about this siege. Shoutouts to 4 bottles really early.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you got a lot of hearts early on as well. So
yeah, I
really...
still kind of wish I'd picked up the blue mail. I was kind of kicking myself for not doing that, because I feel like it probably would have been better in the long run.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, but it turned out pretty fine. Like, you got a lot of money to buy potions as well.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for that, I would have been kicking myself a little harder. Let's put it that way.
All right, here we go. Round 2 again. Big pig. Yeah, if nothing else, Coder is really nailing those spin dashes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I am totally awful at those. I cannot do them for the life of me.
How do you like me now? All right. Phase 1, round 2 is, I believe, complete. Yeah, there we go. Phase 2, that is plenty of slashes.
Yeah, another one for good measure. Ooh.
Okay.
That's unfortunate, but still has all those potions left for another refight.
Unfortunately, can't quite face tank. Even in blue mail, it's pretty dangerous. Which?
Yes, it's gonna have to be a little bit careful when the magic runs out here with the bats. So we should probably try to switch to potion right away.
Okay, as long as you can dodge these bullets, things are fine. Okay, phase 3, part 2.
Yeah, it's just the last phase that's is probably gonna be the most challenging one, especially. As we mentioned before, Coder is pretty new to this game, and it's not easy to learn the Master Sword. I keep saying Master Sword, I mean Zelda's fight against Ganon. Like, once you learn it and you train it enough, then it's pretty easy. But it takes a while to get used to it.
Here we go. Second round gets the torch glitch, so this should be a much easier time.
Oof, almost teleporting upon him there.
Yeah. This is, after all that hard work, this is not the time you want to get knocked off in that pit.
Yeah, but he keeps getting, at the very least, one silver hit. There's another double one. Like, as long as you can get a single one in, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
I think he's got this.
Yeah. Definitely looks like that way.
Watch out for that bat, though.
That was close. Like, it can definitely be intimidating getting so close to Ganon and at the same time have to dodge the fire bats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shouldn't be too many swings left here.
I think I missed out on exactly how many spins he has so far. I mean, we must be more than...
There we go.
I was going to say, we must be more halfway there. We're definitely... ClimbingCoder.
Yeah.
Finishing up his seed with a time of around 2 hours, 20 minutes, and I'm going to say 51 seconds-ish. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, close enough. Spammy GEs in chat for ClimbingCoder. Had a little bit of trouble, but fixed it in the end. It was a really good seed. Well played from him in this one for sure. Like, the execution was really good.
Yeah, it was unfortunately a good seed. The key dungeons. But some things trolling our players, unfortunately. We're going to pull them in here and have a little chat about how this down.
And welcome, ClimbingCoder and GG's.
Thanks. Don't know how warranted it is, but thanks.
Yeah, you stuck it out in the end, and like, this was not a super friendly seed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is the second time now that I have missed the iced tea room because I forgot I didn't need a key for it. Oh, it just feels so bad to to miss that and have to go all the way back there.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
You
Yeah,
know,
we were discussing a little bit why you didn't go there. We thought that maybe you thought the hookshot was needed, but yeah, like, you need a key to get in from one side, so that makes sense as well.
Yeah, I'm just so used to going in from that key door. I lost a practice race a while back for the same exact reason. I think Hammer was in that chest, and I just completely blanked on that chest being accessible.
that's rough. Hammer being in there. You hate.
Yeah, for sure.
that.
Honestly, though, I felt like I was on tilt from very, very early on. I had a little stream issue at first, and then taking that death in Castle Tower it just put me in a really bad mindset.
Yeah, as fun as this game can be to play sometimes, it can be very frustrating sometimes as well.
Definitely, and GG's to my opponent. I don't think I mentioned that when I came in here.
Yeah, same to you.
As you mentioned, this was a very, very trolly seed with a lot of those placements. A lot of things were not really in great spots. I'm glad I dived ice when I did. I just wish I'd gone to the ice tea room.
I think you still had less or fewer entrances into ice than I did. I ended up going in there 3 times for various reasons.
Wow. It makes me feel not as bad about forgetting iced tea, but...
It wasn't because I forgot anything per se. The first time I pieced out after getting everything except Cold Stare because I had basically no magic and basically no hearts, and I was like, there's no way this is happening right now.
Oh yeah, no,
So
I was
later.
about to dive into Swamp actually first for a similar reason, and then I remembered that I had 2 blue potions, and I remembered that I still hadn't checked the Ice Rod Cave because I took a death there at the very beginning, and I'm sitting there in the back of my mind going, that's hookshot.
Yeah.
We were saying, unfortunately, I think one of the big things that wound up being terribly trolly in this was the complete lack of bombs, which came up in a whole bunch of different situations.
Yeah, I've never run out of bombs in some of those spots before. Running out of bombs on that wall in Mire being the worst one. Never hit that before and had no clue how to fix it except to just duck out and say I'll get some bombs between Swamp and coming back.
Yeah, that happened for me my second time in ice. I couldn't kill the big Stalfos.
Oh wow, this seems like it was a fun seed to watch, at least to watch us struggle.
Yeah, it was the bombs were definitely a struggle.
Yeah, it was definitely a different seed, to say at least.
Yeah, there were
Well,
a couple of
I
strange
look
scenarios.
forward to watching that back.
I enjoyed playing it. I honestly kind of had fun with it. I was very worried because you wouldn't know this, Coder, but what happened was I skipped Helma, which had mirror.
Ooh, I was
until
close
had
to
done
doing the
everything
same.
else.
Oh, yeah, I almost did the same thing.
So that worried me a lot, especially having to do some of those very like slow checks without mirror, like frog and purple chest and everything, doing absolutely everything and then going there.
Yeah, I had some
Apparently,
interesting routing because of getting mirror as late as I did, because I didn't go into pod until late. But I wanted to do graveyard ledge coming from Catfish and forgot that you can't get over there without the hook shot. That was a very big disappointment.
Yeah.
I've often forgotten the reverse, where I want to get over to Catfish from the other side, and it's need flippers.
Well, there are an absolute ton of just to sort of close this up. Well, for one thing, thanks so much to you two for racing. It was a treat to watch. Go ahead and give these runners a follow for suffering for our entertainment through a seed like that. If you
I
want,
I mostly had fun.
That's good, at least. If there is a constant stream of randomizer going on at all times. Currently, we have, I believe, 4 concurrent races going on 4 different channels. This one, Speed Gaming, of course, just finishing up. Plus, Speed Gaming 4 has another randomizer race, which just started not too long ago. There's another Speed Gaming 3. A whole bunch of different randomizer races. Plus, there's more going on throughout the evening. Stay tuned on this channel. We're going to have another one coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then it's just going to keep on going forever.
That's in like 10 minutes, isn't it?
It sure is. So we may need to get out of here.
Get out of here then.
All right. Well, it was fun racing, guys. And I just wanted to thank both the commentators and the tracker for doing an awesome job and allowing us to be restreamed. This was my first restream, so I appreciate what you guys do, and thanks for letting me race with you.
It's exciting. Well, you put on a show.
Yeah, when he said thanks.
All right. Well, you guys have a lovely evening. I'm going to sign off. Any final comments from?
Not really, except for thanks for co-commentating this with me, and a big thank you to our tracker today, Dark and Sky. Don't think we mentioned that too much during the race, but the trackers, they are really important for these races. So big thank you for a tracker.
Invaluable. All right. Well, that's going to be it for me. Everybody have a lovely evening or morning or whatever it is. Thanks for joining.